Okay, can everyone see my screen okay? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so like Max said, my topic is teaching and parentship, building strong communities through parent engagement. I first wanted to start with a land acknowledgement. So before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that I am joining you today from Treaty 6 territory, the homeland of the Métis. This is the place where I was born and raised, a place that is very special to me, and it continues to shape who I am as an educator and a person. I want to recognize the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this land and express my gratitude for their ongoing contributions. This is a picture of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, where I am from. It's a very beautiful city. Right now it has a little bit of snow, but it is still just as gorgeous. I know Max did a little introduction, but I'll give one too. My name is Shelbi McKinnon. I am currently teaching grade 2 this year for the Saskatoon Public School Division in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I've been teaching for 9 years, like Max said, and throughout my career, I've been extremely passionate about creating inclusive, community-centered classrooms where every student feels valued, supported, safe, and successful. I've worked closely with colleagues to strengthen literacy practices, promote data-informed instruction, and build strong partnerships with families. I hold a Bachelor of Education, a Bachelor of Arts in Indigenous Studies, and I just finished and graduated this week actually with my Master's of Education in Educational Administration. Um, my educational journey has strengthened my commitment to inclusive, culturally responsive, and community-driven education. Something very important I need to share with you is my family. This is a picture of my brother, my mom, my dad, my sister, and me. My family is everything to me. We're very, very close. And they continue to support me in my education journey and come to all my family nights and meet my class. And it's really great to have all their support. These cuties are my nieces and nephews. They are my entire world. The two girls are Olivia and Emily, and the two little boys are Crew and Lake. And they are super cute, as you can see. This here is my partner, Brandon. And we're expecting a baby actually this year. We found out that I'm pregnant. So I'm at about 21 weeks. So we're getting really excited to meet our little baby boy. I wanted to talk a little bit about my philosophy. So parent engagement and building community is literally at the heart of everything I do in my classroom. From the beginning of the year, I strive to build strong, trusting relationships with families, knowing that these connections are vital to student success. I begin welcoming the families into our classroom community, clearly communicating that I view them as essential partners in their child's learning. And I aim to create an environment that supports academic growth while honoring the unique backgrounds and experience and knowledge that each child and their family bring to the learning space. I also wanted to talk, I've been doing a lot of research in my master's program, and I wanted to really talk and highlight some definitions and differences in terms that you'll hear throughout throughout your research or throughout other maybe videos that you're watching about parent engagement. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit. So parent involvement is when parents help with school planned activities like we have hot lunches here in Saskatchewan or book fairs and field trips, and the school decides what needs to be done, and then parents assist. That's kind of like reaching out to families on an email and saying, hey, we have a field trip coming up, who can come? Who can help us? Who can drive us? That kind of thing. Or if you're a volleyball coach, to say, hey, we need some parent drivers to get us to this place. And the difference with parent engagement is that parents and teachers work together to support learning for their child. So families share their ideas, their culture, their knowledge, and that shapes what happens in the classroom, and what you learn off of that landscape connects to the curriculum. So the difference is that involvement is helping with tasks and engagement is partnership in learning. One of the very first ways that I foster a relationship is a welcome letter and a classroom PowerPoint at the beginning of the year. This kind of outlines my teaching philosophy, invites collaboration, and provides families with a clear overview of what I expect throughout the year. And it sets the tone for open communication and establish that parents are valued and respected partners just right from the start. One thing we do is we talk about classroom treaty. Oops. We talk about a classroom treaty, um, where the families can come in and work with us in creating our classroom expectations. We've had some elders come for this as well. We've had parents come and join us, and they've all collaborated together to make the classroom treaty. And this just hangs in our classroom at the beginning of the year, stays there for the year. And it's just a reminder of the expectations, but it is also a collaboration with families. We do the fill the bucket philosophy in my classroom as well. So that's kind of the idea that we work as a community to be bucket fillers, as the book would say. So it's about the idea that everyone carries around an invisible bucket. And when you do good things and you help your community, you're being a bucket filler. And if you're maybe not doing those right decisions, then you're being a bucket dipper. And it gives that whole idea of like community and that your actions are impacting all of us as a little classroom family. So this has worked amazingly well with my classroom management in my classroom. The kids are very, very motivated by this, and it really builds that sense of community. I also send parents a very clear explanation of how I do my teaching style. So my teaching styles consist of project-based learning, a lot of child-directed learning, a lot of hands-on stuff. We do the process of inquiry in our classroom. And so parents are kind of aware right away, right from the start, this is how we do things. And I also continually send letters home about what writing looks like at home, what reading looks like at home, without putting pressure on families or on parents, but just by saying, this is all it takes, this is the homework, because in grade 1, and I typically teach grade 1 and 2, and really, I really stress that the homework that we do is family, is spending time with family and reading with family or writing with family, or lots of the projects that I share, like, hey, here's this fun little activity you can all do together that includes learning and having fun with the family, playing a game and that sort of stuff. So I say that at the start too. And then I always make sure the classrooms know, that parents know what the classroom looks like as well. So I try to do this huge PowerPoint at the beginning of the year. I change it up every year depending on where I am or what I'm teaching, what grade I'm teaching. But for the most part, just having that welcome letter and that classroom PowerPoint really connects family from the very, very first day of teaching their kids, gives them the idea of what we're going to be doing. I also send them a letter asking if they would take a moment to write to me. I tell them that I want to be a partner with them in their child's learning, and that they're their first and most important teacher, and that what they share at home is incredibly important, and that I want to bring that into the classroom, and that we're going to be a community of learners together. I ask them, what their child's learning styles are, their histories, their hopes, any important things that I need to know. And I get them to just take a moment to write a letter about their child and then send it in to me. And that's one of my favorite things at the beginning of the year, is reading all these beautiful letters of their parents writing about their children. So it's quite beautiful. I understand what the kids' interests are, what the family's traditions and cultures are, even just from the small letter. And this is just one example of many ways that you could send this to families and just say, I mean, what mom and dad wouldn't want to sit down and write about their wonderful child, and tell you things that are important for me to know. And then they bring it to me and I read it, and then I get to connect that to the classroom or to curriculum or to our little community as well. So I tell them that I'm really looking forward to this, building relationships and this partnership and honoring their family's uniqueness. Another way that I recognize a child's identity, is by bringing families' pictures into the classroom. So I reach out and I say, could you please send me a family photo? If they don't have a family photo, I always tell them that I will come and take a photo. Or if I come for a home visit, I will take a photo and put in the classroom. It just helps build a sense of belonging, and it strengthens that homeschool connection. It makes conversations and connections among students stronger as well. They make connections and say, "Oh, that's cool. I also play hockey," or, I also have this favorite soccer team, and it's really cool for families to feel seen in their classroom as well. So these are actually some of the families that I still have connections with today. Reached out to them, asked them for their permission to have these photos on here. And there's many, many more as well that I've just built these strong connections with because of home visits and because of building this community in the classroom. And to this day, I still connect with them, talk with them, meet them for coffee, that kind of stuff. So it's built pretty cool relationships as well. Another really cool thing that I do in the classroom that fosters building community and connects to parent engagement is the Class Chandelier Project. So this encourages students and their families to collaborate together and create a visual representation of their own story. Families add personal items such as photos, drawings, beads, symbols that represent their identity, and the shared creation is displayed in the classroom for the entire year, and serves as an ongoing reminder that we are all unique individuals contributing to a strong community of learners. It is amazing the kinds of things that come on these chandeliers. We see family pictures, we see medals from sports that they do. We see one year we had a spatula because this little boy loved to make breakfast in the morning with his mom and dad. So it's quite unique and quite special. And basically, what happens is as they bring their chandeliers in, we share them. So one or two people share them every day. So this project goes on kind of as a show and tell for the first month of school. And then the kids get to ask questions to each other. They get to make connections. We use this symbol for connections. And they really, really build strong relationships with each other because they're seeing, oh, I love soccer too, or wow, I love to paint. I love coloring, or I have a dog at home too. And it makes those really, really strong connections and builds that community. Um, the picture at the very bottom is my one from this year. I won't, I won't lie. The fire marshal didn't like it too much with our school division. They said it was a little bit of a fire hazard. So I started moving away from the chandelier idea and just kind of putting it on a wall. So, I knew no one was going to take take this away from me because it's just too powerful and works really well with building community. But now it just looks a little different. It doesn't hang from the ceiling, which I totally get. We need to keep those kiddos safe, but now it's more placed on a wall, still has the exact same impact. This beautiful idea I learned about during my internship when I was learning to be a teacher from my partner teacher, Kirsten Koblak. Um, I really, really lucked out by having such an amazing partner teacher who showed me all of these things. And I saw it, I saw the difference it made, and it just stuck with me. I continue to do it throughout my career, and I do it every single year. It's quite beautiful. This is the letter that I send home to families to tell them kind of the subject that we did. We read the book Stone Soup. Stone Soup is a book about villagers who teach a small community, teach a small little area how to be a community and how to share and how to respect each other. And then after we read that book, the kids get to start building their beads at school, and then they bring it home and they finish that as an at-home project, and then they get to bring it back to school and share it. So this is just a letter the letter example that I would send home to families, and I tell them that they can add whatever they want to it, and we want it to be unique and special to their family. And I get a lot of feedback from parents saying they absolutely love this. And I just put a shout out at the bottom of Kirsten Koblak, who inspired me and taught me how to do this. Okay, another amazing example of building those partnerships with families and celebrating parent engagement is going on home visits. I had an amazing opportunity to have an amazing seminar leader named Debbie Pusher. She's actually here today, which is unreal. She showed me what this looks like. I had absolutely no idea. I was in education, learning to be a teacher. I had never even heard of this before. I grew up here in Saskatchewan and never had a teacher come to my house before. And there was definitely a little bit of anxiety at first, thinking, wow, how could this be, right? Like, how could this be okay? Would parents like it? And the more I learned about it, the more I realized, like, wow, this is what every teacher needs to do. It is amazing how much you build relationships with families, you build relationships with the students, and it honestly makes my job easier. Um, so to learn more about the students and their families, we call it the Learning from Households Project. This involves visiting the families' homes and meeting in a comfortable space of their choice. So if families decide, I don't feel too comfortable doing it at my house, can we meet somewhere else? You say, absolutely. I've met at coffee shops, I've met back at the school, and I just ask families, like, bring things that represent your family best, bring me family photos and things like that. So there's other ways. It doesn't always have to be at their house. I know it says home visits, but you want the family to feel safe and comfortable. I've actually had a family originally reach out and say, I don't really feel comfortable with that. Can we meet at a coffee shop? So I met the whole family at a coffee shop. It was amazing. Um, and then 2 weeks later, because the kid at school was hearing about all the home visits that the other kids, because they start talking about it. And then she had reached out and said, okay, can we actually have you at our house? Our child really wants you to come here, and it's a big thing in your classroom, and we'd love to have you. So it kind of breaks that barrier as well, right? Going to the coffee shop at first and then being able to go to their house. So I thought that was really cool. It's a big thing about comfort and respect too. Um, so these visits allow me to listen, observe, and learn about families' values, routines, and hopes and dreams for their child's education. And the knowledge that I gain from these visits informs my teaching and helps me shape our classroom curriculum in a way that is relevant and responsive. It also sends a strong message to families that I see them as their first and most important teacher to their child's life. I go to every single home at the start of the year, and I absolutely love it. It's amazing. It's a great, great opportunity. And here on the side is just a letter that I send home to families, a little example of what that would look like. I talk about how I'd like to keep, this is when I talk about the picture. I'd love to have a picture of them in the classroom. I'd love to come meet you and connect with you. And the first couple times I went on home visits, I had families ask me kind of about academics, like, oh, how they're doing and stuff like that. And I think it's really important to just like stress that you're there as a learner. You're there as wanting to know what their interests are, what their traditions are, what their cultures are. And you tell them, I'm going to connect this to the curriculum. I'm going to make sure that your child's identity and your child's culture and traditions are honored in our classroom. And I think that that's very special to families. That's received really well. And then throughout the year, they see how I stand by that, right? And it just builds this amazing community, great connections as well. During my master's program, I created a diagram here of home visits and kind of how I see it in my mind. And so here I have, the house, the child's first teacher, and then we have a bridge, which is going to the school. And that's the idea of bridging the gap between home and school. And inside the bridge, you can see all of those different artifacts and all of those essential, like beautiful things you learn from the families during the home visits. And then it goes to the school, and then it's opening doors and enriching the curriculum because you're using that information to create lessons or units or things that are really meaningful for the kids. And what I find that's very interesting about this is that kids are so engaged and so passionate to learn when it's something that they know about, when it's something they understand, when it's something they can connect to. And so, yes, I'm taking time to go to their homes and coffee shops to visit them. But when we're back in the classroom, it is a breeze being able to make those connections and get those kids engaged and listened. And it's quite cool. And then I have here at the bottom that you put those two things together and it creates a community of learners and a collaborative partnership. So this is kind of a little diagram I created during my my master's program, just to kind of show more people of what was kind of going on in my head. And this little cutie on the side, this is Jude. And when Jude came to me, he was not really talking to me much. He has autism, and he wasn't really too engaged in what we were doing. And as soon as I went on the home visit and I got to know him and what he was interested in, I found out during the home visit that he was very into farm animals this year. And so we, took a field trip to the farm. We were able to do a whole unit on animals, and he thrived. He went from beginning to meet to exceeding expectations because he was building these projects to show his learning that was absolutely amazing. And it wasn't just, me teaching about cow and then him building a cow. He was showing what the cow was doing, what the cow was eating, what the cow looked like. It was really out of the box thinking. So if I hadn't gone on those home visits and I hadn't really got to know him on a personal level or his family, I wouldn't have really understood. Um, Jude and I still have, this was a couple years ago, we still have an amazing connection. I'm actually going to visit him this week. He's into hockey right now, and my partner plays hockey, so he's coming to a hockey game to see it. He's very, very invested in hockey and sports, and so we still have an amazing relationship today, and him and his whole family. And I ended up getting to teach his sister a year later, so it's really beautiful, these partnerships with families and how they create these really meaningful friendships as well. This is just another idea of the graphic organizer that I created. I've designed it so that it is a representation of the connection between home and school, embodying the essence of family influence on a child's educational journey. And I kind of explained the process of this and what it looks like in the other slide. So another really cool thing that I learned during my internship from Kirsten Koblak was the memory box evening. And this is one of the most beautiful things I have ever done in my career, and I continue to do it every single year. When I was doing my internship, I was introduced to this idea through Kirsten Koblak. She started by reading the memory string, and then she would send home these boxes, empty boxes, and just say, um, we're going to have a family night at the school. I would love for you to fill these with things that represent your family most. And so now, 9 years later, I'm still doing this every single year. This is our memory box night, pictures of our memory box night last year. So we had a huge turnout. There was 87 people that came. We had families, grandmas, grandpas, sisters, aunties, uncles. It was really nice. And basically, they brought these boxes. I sent a box home. I told them what was it about. I told them I wanted to recognize and value each student's background and identity, and that this will deepen cultural understanding and emotional connection within our classroom community. Turned out amazing. As you can see by these pictures, the families are having a great time. I'm having a great time. And the kids are get to connect with each other and show each other, like, this is what I like. This is my culture. This is my identity. This is what we do in our family. And they get to build those great connections with each other. Families to this day have come to me and say, I met some of my best friends at those family nights. When newcomers come to Saskatchewan, they sometimes don't have an opportunity to meet other families, or they don't get to connect with them as much. So they're able to build relationships with each other as well, which is quite beautiful. Another family night that we have is the family potluck night. So this is when I ask families to share food and cultural traditions with academic fun. So they're invited to bring their favorite family meal, something that represents their family best. Some families brought their favorite Sunday night meal. Some families brought their favorite traditional meal. They also came to the potluck in traditional clothing. So we had some beautiful ribbon skirts. We had some sports jerseys as well, what their family's favorite sport team was. And it was quite beautiful. I did have some pictures of some beautiful regalia that I took at the last family potluck, but unfortunately the family didn't get back to me in time so that I could have their consent to post the photo. But what I am learning from these events is just building connection. You see the pride and the joy of these kids, and the connections they build with each other is pretty cool too. During the family nights, I always post a PowerPoint video of pictures of the kids learning. So their parents are also connecting to the classroom as well. They get to see Oh, these are all the things that they're learning right now. These are the things that they're doing. And I also regularly every week post the learning on Edsby as well. So that's a learning platform so that parents are connected. They see the same they're using the same language as me. Um, that helps with academic growth. And they're also able to see their kid in class and what they're doing, and it gets them excited. So these are some pictures again of a little presentation that I did, and our family potluck. That was a huge success. We had a great turnout. We even had the superintendent of the division come, and we had the principal and vice principal there, and it was quite beautiful. Actually, I wasn't expecting anybody to I wasn't expecting anyone to go out of their way to come, but it just created this really, really strong community in our classroom. And everyone was really eager to take time out of their night to come. We had a huge turnout, um, and lots of beautiful traditional and cultural attire as well. We got to see and experience. So some other examples of family nights that I've held in the last couple of years is I've done a math game night. This was really fun. The families got to play with their kids and interact in some math, problem solving skills, and number sense. And this was really neat because families got to really understand that like homework doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be something they dread or something kids feel anxious about. It can be take away that pressure and it can be fun. So I introduced some different activities of like how parents can do math at home and what that looks like. We also did a family reading night, and we also had some other members from the community come to that night as well too. So we had some elders come read. We had some people from the library come read. It was quite cool. And then it was also an amazing opportunity for me to show families what reading looks like at home. And I introduced our classroom reading log, and it motivated the kids a lot. So the reading in the classroom became more of a passion. They were excited to read, and it became more of a fun family event than a chore, as you could say. Another thing I've also done in the past is arts fests. My last school that I worked at was a visual, an art school. And so we did an arts fest every year, and it was really cool. Each classroom had a different station, so they got to do different art, and watch performances and do the art with their family. So it was a really cool night. And then I've done a wellness and mindfulness night as well. So they got to do activities, they got to do exercises, we did some yoga, and the families really appreciated that as well. So I just want to take some time to talk about how parents can help without pressure. I know I've kind of mentioned that a little bit. Um, Prioritizing family engagement in academics is absolutely important. Um, and I regularly send home communication that supports learning, such as word work documents, which outline the phonics patterns and what we're focusing on. So, like diagraphs, blends, long vowels, short vowels, inflected endings, that kinds of things. And I use the wording and show parents how they can do that with their child at home. And so, lots of times when you're saying, okay, a teacher is sending a document home saying, this is what I need you to do, that could be really overwhelming for a family. That could be really overwhelming for a parent, like especially coming from a teacher who I know what that stuff means. I know what that language means. So it's really important that when you're sending this stuff home, you're making sure you're doing it in a fun, engaging way, and you're making sure that the families, you're regularly informing them about this is the language we use. This is how you would do this. This is a really fun way or a fun activity how you can do this, and showing them those steps. Um, I really found that families are more engaged to it when they really understood it and they felt comfortable. Another thing that I also do in my classroom is a Math is Everywhere project. So this invites families to explore their surroundings, work together, take pictures in everyday life, their home and stories, um, through their cultural items. And then we put that up on a bulletin board in our classroom as well. This idea I also got during my my internship with Kirsten Kobalak. These are just some examples of the letters that I would send home. So I would say, this is the focus this week. This is what we're working on. And it gives exact examples of what we need your child to be doing. And I've had parents reach out and say, hey, can I have some more of those? We're really having fun doing them. So I feel like if you give really good examples and you explain how it's done, they're more eager to do it as well. This is the letter I sent home for the Math is Everywhere project. So another really cool thing that I do to bring the families into the classroom is I bring parent guests experts into the classroom. So when I go on home visits, I get to know the families, and sometimes I find out, oh, this woman is a doctor. So she will come in and we'll be learning about something in health, and reach out and invite her and say, hey, do you think you could come in and like show us a little bit about that? And then I've had an elder come in and tell us stories. We've done some ribbon skirt making before. And this values and celebrates the family's knowledge and allows students to see the strength that their families bring to the world. I also plan events like cultural cuisine celebrations where they can bring a family recipe to share. Um, and we've created cookbooks before from different family recipes. These two pictures here are from an artist here in Saskatoon. I had the opportunity to teach her daughter for 2 years, actually. I was teaching a 1-2 split at the time. And she is a musician here in Saskatoon, and she's a comedian as well. And she came into the classroom and we wrote a classroom song. Well, the kids wrote a classroom song, and then we sang it throughout the year. So it was really cool to have her come in, and then also her child get to see her mother share those cool skills as well. So it was a good school family connection. Learning celebrations and curriculum showcases. That's where families are invited into the classroom to see firsthand what their child are working on. So we've done a classroom art show, we've done a classroom zoo, and they were able to come in and families were able to see what the students were working on. This year we actually I have a student who has diabetes. His name is Eric. That's the little cutie at the bottom there. And I found out that he had type 1 diabetes, and I really didn't know anything about it. So I had reached out to diabetes awareness. Um, I challenged diabetes here in Saskatchewan, and they came in. They did a beautiful presentation of what it's like, um, and got the other kids to understand. It helped the staff understand. And so for Eric, seeing diabetes acknowledged in a positive way and an informative way, and also having his parents come in and be part of that too, made him feel really supported, and it made him feel proud. And I thought that that was really cool. So bringing other people in to show, um, like to represent the child and show awareness is really important too. Just some important things here is teachers leading in the way in family engagement. Teachers who take the lead by creating and welcoming classrooms, reaching out to families, and planning inclusive activities help build strong connections between home and school. Building trust through relationships. Trust is built through respectful and consistent communication where teachers engage families in a meaningful and honest ways. It creates a shared sense of purpose and belonging. And connecting home and school with cultural practices, family traditions, and experiences are valuable. Activities such as home visits and projects based with families help make learning more relevant and strengthen the homeschool connection. And working together through a two-way communication. Family engagement works best when it's a partnership. Some of the benefits that I have seen in going on home visits or having parent engagement um, in my classroom is what I've noticed for me is it builds stronger relationships with families through trust and respect. It helps me understand students' backgrounds, its strengths and their needs. It improves the two-way communication with parents. I have great communication with parents. Supports student success by engaging consistent home and school collaboration, and it creates a sense of belonging and shared partnership. For families, the feedback that I've got is that it builds a personal connection and it allows them to trust me more. It increases an understanding of what their child is learning at school. It gives family a chance to share their interests, routines, and needs, and it helps parents support learning at home with teacher guidance. I've also had the opportunity to talk to families about how it's helped them make friends, and it's helped them have those connections with other parents, and it's built a huge community in the area as well. Okay, so the long-term impact. Um, so for students, it builds confidence by knowing that their teacher understands them. It strengthens motivation and engagement in learning. It helps its students feel valued, seen, and connected to their classroom community. It encourages a positive attitude towards school and learning over time. I've had students, very shy students, that have completely been able to open up. I've had nonverbal students been able to open up as well. I think when kids see me in their homes and visiting with their families, and it takes away that, I'm at school, I'm at home. It's kind of like we're all one kind of thing, and it really opens kids up. For parents, the big thing here is just partnership and trust. It increases the long-term involvement for their child's learning, and it strengthens understanding on how to support their child at home. They feel more comfortable reaching out. The communication from families is very simple because we know, we've talked lots of times, we've connected lots of times, and it just creates good communication throughout the school year. And for me, builds lasting relationships with families. It improves understanding what students' needs are and better long-term planning. My planning has gotten so much easier since I started doing this. I've had students who were very interested in bugs. And so I had this whole unit planned that I was going to do on bison, and I had it all ready to go. And I completely switched gears and was like, you know what, we'll do that later. We're going to do something on bugs because bugs is something they're so into. And so we did the life cycle of a butterfly, and we had butterflies in the classroom, and we had a classroom spider pet, which was like, ugh, I am not a spider girl. I do not like spiders. Really took one for the team there, but I ended up not being scared of spiders after that because I learned about how cool they are and interesting. So I got to learn with the kids as well. And it just like strengthens my confidence as a teacher as well. So getting to know, having these partnerships with the families and getting to know the kids at this totally different level. Like when I first found out about the bug thing, I was going on home visits and I just had like two kids. We were in their backyard and they were just like catching bugs and catching spiders. And then it became a thing at recess, and then it became a whole complete unit in school, and they were just so engaged. It was so cool to watch. But if I hadn't gone on those home visits and I hadn't got to know those kids, I wouldn't have been able to do those really rich learning opportunities for those kiddos. So it's definitely helped me as well. And it really does. Building community and having parent engagement in your classroom creates this positive culture that grows stronger and stronger every year. I just want to say that I believe that parent engagement is not an add-on, but it's a core part of teaching, part of good teaching. These relationships have made my job easier, created strong connections between home and school, and led to a deeper, more meaningful learning experience for my students. I have seen the joy and pride on the students and their families when they're feeling all included. And parents feel more connected, more trusting, and more likely to share their insights with me. Most importantly, these connections help my students feel seen, supported, and celebrated. Through every letter home, every parent planned event, every conversation held, I am reminded that teaching is just not that in itself, that it is a partnership. It is creating these families, and it's a rewarding impact on my job. Okay, and then this is the time for questions. Here's some extra pictures of just different family nights that I've had. And I also have on this slide some references as well. These references kind of helped guide me through my master's program. I did a lot of parent engagement through my master's program, and just me as an individual trying to learn more about it. So there's some great references there as well. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Any questions?